Let's find out what happens to Glutton's glacés. Chapter 21, Peeved Cow. Mrs. Glutton shoved her lump of a husband off her and scrambled to her feet. Next, she shut off the ice cream tap, which had still been splurging away. Click. "It's Ned," announced Ned, still hovering outside their van on his slocket. "Remember me?" The boy was sure the pair would, after so cruelly stealing his pound. No. "No?" barked Glenda. "Should I?" "Yes," said the boy, miffed that he hadn't been remembered. "I know you," began Glen. Ned smiled. "Go on." "Aren't you the boy who was just flying by the window?" "Yes," snapped Ned. "But I mean before then, obviously." You don't ring any bells," muttered Glenda. "I am Ned. I ordered a Mr. Whippy. I gave you a £1 note. You just stole it and sped off. No ice cream, no nothing." Mr. and Mrs. Glutton looked at each other. "Sorry. Still no. Not a clue," said Mrs. Glutton. "To be honest," began Mr. G, "we do that all day, every day. So try as we might, we can't remember individual victims." "Don't take it to heart, boy," chirped Mrs. G, licking Mr. Whippy off her chin with her thick, rough tongue. If this was meant to pacify Ned, it had the opposite effect. The boy became enraged. "Well, I'm going to get my revenge on the pair of you, for me and the hundreds of other children you've robbed." The pair looked at each other and burst out laughing. "Hundreds?" began Mr. Glutton. "It's more like thousands." "Millions," his wife chuckled. "Billions, trillions, zillions." "Well, I, Ned, am going to use my slime power." "For all of them," announced Ned. "Your what?" grunted Glen. "The boy is bananas," grunted Glenda. "Your crime spree is over." "Shh, you have to catch us first," exclaimed Mr. Glutton. With that, he hauled himself onto the driving seat and stamped on the accelerator pedal. Stomp. Broom. "So long, sucker," they shouted. The ice cream van lurched. Screech. Toppling Mrs. Glutton off her feet again. "Woof!" she cried as she landed on her ample bottom. The problem was that the windscreen was still covered in ice cream. Mr. Glutton couldn't see a thing. As a result, the van skidded off the road. Screech. Smashed through a hedge. Crunch. Then bumped its way across a field of cows. Bump, bump, bump. "Moo," cried the cows, as well as you might if an ice cream van was speeding straight at you. And of course, you were a cow. "Watch where you're going, you fool," yelled Mrs. Glutton, bouncing up and down in the back. "I can't see a blasted thing," yelled Mr. Glutton. He flicked on the windscreen wipers. Swish, swash, swish, swash. "The ice cream won't come off," he bellowed. "That's because it's on the inside, you ignoramus," Mrs. Glutton bellowed back. The man shook his head and wiped the inside of the windscreen with his sleeve. At last he could see, but the sight that greeted Mr. Glutton made him shriek with horror. What's it going to be? Ah! On Ned's suggestion, slime had formed into a giant Mr. Whippy ice cream. The boy was the topping. "Remember me now," called Ned. The ice cream van was heading straight for it. "Still no," barked Mr. Glutton. He was driving too fast to make the van stop. He stamped hard on the brake. Stomp! So hard that the back wheels jumped up into the air. Whoosh! It somersaulted over the giant Mr. Whippy before crash landing upside down on the grass. Thump! "Moo!" cried the cows as they scattered out of the way. Slime translimed back into a blob, placing Ned on the back of a peeved-looking cow. "Moo!" Ned patted the cow. "Good girl." "We'll get you for this, boy," shouted an upside-down Mr. Glutton. "We'll get you good and proper," agreed an upside-down Mrs. Glutton. Then the boy gave the cow a gentle slap, and it trotted closer to the ice cream van. "Well, seeing as you love ice cream so much, I thought you might like to try the special slime flavour. Slime flavour? Bawled Glenn. Oh, sounds disgusting, bawled Glenda. It is, replied the boy. Slime, let's give the good Mr. and Mrs. Glutton a humongous helping. Oh, a splendid idea, Ned, it said, before oozing through the gap in the window. No, the pair screamed as goo began filling their upturned van. Still the slime oozed and oozed in until their entire upside-down ice cream van was full to bursting. Then the windscreen windows and the doors exploded with the pressure. Crack, smash, boom. The van broke into pieces. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The gruesome twosome oozed out onto the cowpat-covered grass in a giant puddle of slime or sluddle. Ugh, moaned Mrs. Glutton. I'm all slimy. What's he done to our van? Cried Mr. Glutton. Slime, seize their ice cream, ordered Ned. Goody, goody, replied the blob as it gathered itself back together. No, cried the pair. We've barely eaten today, said Mr. G. We're starving, adding Mrs. G. But Slime was quick and had soon pulled the huge metal ice cream dispenser out of the wreck of the van. Clonk. We have some hungry children to feed, Ned announced. Let's fly. Slime became a giant airship, or Slime-a-Pellin, and picked up the boy from the back of the grateful cow. Moo. Then it whisked Ned and the ice cream dispenser high into the sky. We'll get you, began Mr. Glutton. What's your name again? So long, suckers, called back Ned. I wonder where he's going to take all this ice cream. Until next time, goodbye.